Okay, hello. It is me, and with me, we've got G3 and what do you want to be called? Stealth Ninja.
Stealth is fine.
Stealth is fine. We got Stealth is fine. Haha, funny one. All right, we got Stealth in here with G3, and what do we have here? We have a poorly cropped Trackmania, which we are going to be enjoying here in a moment.
Yes.
So G3 has apparently slept for about 20 minutes after being awake for about 40 hours, as far as I know. So we can only expect great things from this run.
I've definitely played this game within the last week, for sure.
Definitely. 100%.
All right. Well, as soon
the
as
worst
you
I can
are
have.
prepared to start this massacre.
All right. A quick introduction about the run. Basically, I will be just completing all 25 tracks as fast as I can. Yeah, and that's the run. So with Trackmania, every 3 months they release a new campaign of 25 tracks. So this is the fall 2022 campaign, which went from I think September through December, and then there'll be a new one January 1st. So yeah, I guess we'll get started.
Yup, just let me know and I will try to find your gameplay. There it is.
I hope you can find it.
Yeah, we are good to go.
So yeah, I will let you know when to begin. I'm gonna load into the first track, and we will begin in. Actually, hold on. I need to change a setting.
I'm holding.
Hold.
I'm so held right now.
I am going to remove the give up key because it makes me reset the whole track, and that will make me lose time, and I will unintentionally hit it on many occasions, so I'm not going to do that. Okay, now we're ready to go in 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's go.
So the thing with this game, it's a racing game. You just get to the end, getting all the checkpoints, and there's a bunch of different styles. Yeah, go ahead, Stealth.
Like I say, one thing to note is that you can actually get the checkpoints in any order, but you will see them. I don't think you're doing any cuts, as far as I know. I know there's a couple cuts, but they're pretty
Very
wicked.
difficult.
They're pretty wicked. But yeah, there's a couple different types of checkpoints. You'll see the standard ones, a little archway. There's ring checkpoints, the big rings, and there's also those like newer ones that are like
hit the wall
gates. Oh no. Yeah, so the one big thing about this game is when you hit a wall, your car has what's called an acceleration penalty. Essentially, it will no longer allow the car to accelerate for a short time, which obviously makes you slow down a lot, which is not good. It's also very infuriating because if you barely touch a wall, then you slow down a lot, and it's infuriating.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different like styles of tracks. First map was dirt. The second map was you got a little bit of ice. This one has the sausage blocks and plastic right here. Plastic is just like the regular road, but it's a little more slippery. You get a little better acceleration, but you'll slide more. There's also different styles of maps in general. So this one will be full speed. I will never let go of the W key.
Keyboard player.
And yeah, there's actually a special thing on these full speeds where if you slide just a little bit, I didn't get it there. If you slide a tiny bit, you'll actually gain speed.
Yeah,
with a small slide.
It's called speed sliding, and it's a very difficult tech in this game. When you're above like 400 kilometers per hour, which by the way, the number on the back of the car is the speed in kilometers per hour.
I don't think it's actually kilometers per hour because I don't think that makes sense.
Oh, but it's in-game speed, but it's supposed to represent like it's just in-game speed. Then just ignore the kilometers per hour. It's whatever your in-game speed is.
Yeah,
that's fair. But yeah, once you're over like 400, you can actually speed slide on every surface. It's different for every surface. Whereas like grass and dirt, you just turn a little bit, but essentially you want your front tire skid marks to be to be just off of your back tire skid marks when you're turning. And the faster you are, you want to change how much your skid marks overlap, and it will slowly gain you a little bit of speed over time. And it is, like I said, very difficult on the road. We are in the green tracks right now. There's 25 tracks split into 5 groups. You have white, green, blue, red, and then black. And getting increasingly difficult as you get to the next set of 5. The first 5 tracks typically anywhere from 15 to 25 seconds, usually closer to like 20-ish. Whereas when you start to get the black tracks, you start to get the tracks that are 50 seconds to just over a minute. And those tracks can be difficult. Oh, we had our first fall off the track. Is that your first respawn too?
Oh no.
Oh
first
no.
2.
G3 having a rough time on this track. So this is reactor
I will have
boost.
a lot more respawns later on. These first few tracks are easy, but as Stealth is saying, they get much more difficult later.
There's also, like I was saying before, reactor boost. It was very short-lived, but it heavily increases your speed. There's reactor boost down and up, which have a lot of different properties, but all you need to know is that you go really fast, and that makes the car do crazy things when the wheels are not on the ground.
Alright, this is a cool little map type called NASCAR, which is basically you never use the brake button, but you release on some turns. It's usually pretty flat of a I messed that up a little bit. It's usually a pretty flat map. The wall. That was decent. But these tracks can be a little tricky, because it's just all about precision. So
Right.
Makes that track difficult.
NASCAR is essentially full speed mixed with a little bit of precision, where you have turns where you cannot hold forward the whole time, so you have to release early, so that you can just barely make the turn and then start accelerating again once you know you've made the turn, to try to maximize how much exit speed you have coming out of those turns. And yeah, that's the entire idea behind NASCAR.
So what you just saw there was the first drift that I just did. I did a quick drift around the corner to line up my car better going through the checkpoint to the finish. Basically, you tap brake or hold brake for a little bit, and you'll get a good your back wheels will start to kind of drift along the side. That's an engine off block, so my engine is just off. I'm just gliding. That's a special block that can be pretty annoying sometimes.
Bonk. Bonk.
That turn's actually difficult.
This is bobsleigh. It's actually the second time we've seen this. Bobsleigh is, well, if you've ever seen the Winter Olympics, it's bobsleigh. Those turns, you want to be right around on those red lines, trying to be as straight as possible. The more up and down you go, or turny, you are not gaining the most speed possible. They did actually recently change it, I want to say a month or 2 ago, in a patch where it used to be the best percentage steering in bobsleigh was 42%, but now you just want a full turn. There's I think there's still ways to do it specifically that make it faster than that, but Trackmania community or speedrunners, they're always gonna try to find the fastest way to play every surface. They're crazy.
Yeah, this game is not typically run in the full game setting like I'm doing now. It's usually just run individual tracks, just ILs.
Yeah, and so people typically will do the same track hundreds and hundreds of times to just try to shave thousands of a second off of their time.
All right, this is my worst track of all 25.
This is sausage tech. I hate sausage tech, so I don't blame you.
Yeah.
So tech, like he was mentioning before, is where you're gonna be drifting a lot around the corners, making sure you're drifting early so that you have more exit speed. Like right here, that was a pretty good drift, and you can extend your drift as long as you're not in a no slide, which is where your skid marks are on top of each other, and you can't gain or lose drift or turn more or less than that. However, the way you start a drift is you need to be turning in the direction you want to drift for at least half a second, I believe.
So yeah, I just got a no slide there.
Yes.
Just the way I landed, I was not able to start a drift, so I just rammed right into the wall.
I'm actually just about to explain no slides too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way you drift is you have to turn the way you want to drift for at least half a second, and then press the brake button, and it will activate the drift. However, if you have skid marks or you are like milliseconds before that half-second mark, it's roughly half a second, but roughly half a second mark, then your drift will not come out, but you will get skid marks, just like where they're just on top of each other, and you cannot drift. And it's very infuriating for tech tracks, because 90% of the time, unless you can save it very quickly, you are most likely going to hit a wall.
Slow-mo block. So this has the same physics as going full speed, but it happens in slow motion, so it can be quite awkward to control. Luckily, that's not a very common block, and we don't have to deal with it much. And this here is actually a multi-lap. So we'll just have to complete the same track multiple times. Oh, that was an awful turn. But
yeah, that's a half pipe jump, I guess. Called a quarter pipe jump, but yeah, you want to land earlier. Obviously, the more time you're in the air, the less time your wheels are driving, so you're not as fast. It's actually a fun fact. I believe the first multi-lap in the seasonal campaign since they started the game in summer of 2020 when this game released. So this is the first one that is a multi-lap, which is really cool. It took them, just over 2 years, but that's they'll get there. One day we'll have a 3-lapper. I think multi-lappers are cool though.
Yeah.
Because
get a little bit of water here. Water is not fun.
Water has its own ton of properties that even some pros in the community don't fully understand, just because of how new it is. It came out last summer, and they've changed it at least once since. So it's
same update as the ice.
Yeah, you can bounce on it when you're gonna get wet wheels. You can float on it like this. Nice bonk. That bonk actually is intended. Yeah. When you have reactor.
Didn't get a good bonk there. You actually want to bonk twice against that wall, and then that sets you up for a better angle. I only got one bonk.
That would be my lack of knowledge of the track. It still looked like a good bonk from my perspective.
Oh, I just started the wrong track. We're on reds. So this is a full speed track that starts to get difficult. Red is where difficulty really starts to ramp up. And you'll kind of notice on this track, you got a double loop right at the beginning. I'm actually going to reset, because if I don't do that, I don't know if I can finish the track. Maybe I could have with the boosters, but that's a double loop right there. It's actually really hard to not hit the wall there. You'll see on the top right, I've got my inputs, and I was tapping right, left, just constantly. Oh, that did not, I lost some grip there. So I'm going super slow right now. Full speed is all about getting every little bit of speed that you can. So when you lose a tiny bit of speed, get a tiny bit of air time, it's impossible to catch back up.
When you have a track where you're pressing or you're trying to accelerate the entirety of the track, any lost speed is just going to compound later in the track.
This plastic track, you'll see how the sliding is pretty weird, but there's actually a cool property of plastic where if you bounce on it, you actually get a launch, kind of like this. Oh, I missed the bounce. You'll actually like bounce and you won't lose speed. You just wow. I'm over 2 on it. It's actually hard to line this up.
3 times the charm.
I didn't.
All right, that was. Oh no!
Work. I didn't flip.
You gotta turn right before you jump.
Yeah, there we go. Kind of like that. I'll get one more later.
This can be. Those can definitely be tricky.
Yeah, you got to get the right angle and everything. Oh, I'm not gonna make it up top. There's a little shortcut if you want to go up top there if you have enough speed, but I did not have it.
Yeah, the reason that shortcut, even though it's like up there and then you have to drop down, is faster, is because you land on it earlier than you would if you were going for the lower path, and so you have more time to accelerate, and you have the fastest acceleration when you're on plastic, which is why that's a little bit faster.
Yeah, see, it doesn't really make sense as kilometers per hour, so it's mostly just considered speed. So this is a tricky track. Alliteration. This is like kind of a slower dirt. So this is like called technical dirt, where one really important part about Trackmania is the gears, and you'll see the gearbox in the top right. You can also hear it. Basically, on dirt, if you're turning while you're switching gears, you're going to lose a ton of speed. So you want to be straight while you switch gears. You know, you want to be at a lower gear going up an uphill, a higher gear going downhill. See, I messed that up. So I actually have to respawn. I bonked the wall. But yeah, gears are very important on this track to make sure you get the most amount of speed possible, and it can be very difficult to deal with.
Yeah, most of the gears happen at 100, 160, 235, and like 330 or something.
Ice.
That's second, third, fourth, and fifth gears.
All right, now this is a fun thing called ice. Fun track. So it's kind of a mix of grass and ice, but ooh, I didn't have good grip there. So ice, you actually want to ice slide. I'm gonna respawn here. I don't know why I slid out there. Okay, whatever. So ice is cool in that you actually can ice slide by turning your car like sideways and counter steering against the ice, and you'll gain speed.
Like straight out of cars, like actually turn right to go left, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it's not even a joke. Like that's actually what you do. Like if you're trying to ice slide to the right, you hold right until you get an angle, and then you hold left. Like right here, he's gonna hold right, and then he's now going left by holding right.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult mechanic as well, because if you don't have the right gear, or if you're going up or down a slope, or you do it right in the middle of a gear, you can slide out, which means you lose your ice slide, you lose a bunch of speed, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Ice is definitely
there's one more ice map coming up in the blacks that is very difficult. It's one of my favorite maps to grind, but yeah, it is very difficult.
But he's gonna absolutely destroy it.
You can see on the leaderboards here, on the left there, I'm just comparing against Michigan. That way you don't see that I'm like 5,000th in the world. I think I'm like 2,000th in the world in most tracks, but yeah, there you can compare against your home, like your home city or state, your home country, or against the world. And there's hundreds of thousands of people that play this game, maybe even millions. So you're comparing your times against all of them. So that's pretty cool.
Have you gotten some top 1,000 worlds?
I don't believe I've ever grinded a track enough to do that. But yeah, we are on to our last 5 tracks. These are the most difficult and wild. So this is a little plastic map. 21 is usually one of the more difficult tracks in terms of just tech. So I'll have to slide this corner, drift.
Very nice.
Do a little bit of a release, so it wasn't the best, but Slide around this. Little loops at angles and plastic with reactor.
The key with a full season campaign speedrun is that you want to make sure you don't bonk. God damn it. I was
You can't say that.
You're right. No, because like every respawn is a lot worse because it's than bonking in a lot of cases because you're losing more time having to redrive the track. Especially if you bonk on a checkpoint, because then you have to go back all the way to the previous checkpoint and redo that checkpoint. So bonking is obviously avoided. It's better to take a safer path and lose a little bit of time over your personal best and just make sure you finish the track cleanly than risk a bonk.
So basically what Stealth is saying is that you go slower if you slow down.
Yes, obviously. And don't hit walls, of course. So here we start with a pipe that G3 just absolutely chokes.
I just full risked it, and I should not have. These pipes are probably my least favorite thing in Trackmania. This is the last time I'll have to use a pipe.
Yeah, when you if you full speed this, you want to be on the inside curve so that your car will want to shoot off of it, as you can see G3 very handily demonstrating. And
yes, I'm top 10 on this track, as you can tell by my obvious skill. Like the black tracks are definitely less played than most, just because people don't like grinding the black tracks because they're a lot more difficult. I actually like to, so that's why my times are a little better on the black tracks. I just have no speed. Can I even get this?
You have to go higher up. There you go.
Oh wow, I had no speed. Alright, well, I'm 17 seconds behind my PB, so that's cool. Ooh, bug slides.
That was clean. Oh yeah, so you want to land at about a 90 degree and then
gets
hold
confused. Break. You can see that physics didn't really work very well.
Bug slides have been in the game since its very early predecessors, well over a decade ago. Essentially, you can do it on technically any of the main surfaces besides ice. But the thing is, you have to land 90 degrees at high speed, and then just hold forward the direction you want to go and brake all at the same time, and your car will essentially do a really fast slide called a bug slide, and then you have to release the turn right at the right moment, and it's just a really fast way to do it. It's really cool.
Yeah, bug slides are interesting. I don't know why they happen. I don't know the physics behind it, but it is what it is. It's another engine off little section. That 22 is probably the most difficult track. 20, just in terms of skill. So that's probably why I'm top 10 on there, is because I've actually grinded a difficult map. So it's not as contested. And I probably just got a lucky run. I don't remember how I got the PB.
Don't worry about it, chat. Oh, I don't think 20 minutes was the right estimate. I would have said 25 going into it.
20 minutes was a good estimate, but as you can tell, I've bonked a lot.
Aren't you you're on 23, right?
Yeah, this is 23, so I only have 2 more tracks after this. Bobsleigh loop here, which is wild. It's kind of hard to control afterwards.
That's true. You spent a minute failing on a pipe, so yeah, I guess.
All right. One last ice slide.
One last thing I didn't mention about drifts. You can't start a drift if you're under 180 speed. You also have to be 180 speed. So unless you want to, and if you want to do it under that, you have to do what's called a neo slide, where you have to tap the turn, release forward, then press forward again, then brake, or brake, then press forward again. All in rapid succession. It's something like that. It's a very difficult technical trick that pros use for very low speed tech turns.
All right, so this is a very technical ice track. Let's see. I practiced this a lot because if messing this up loses just a ton of time.
That wasn't
bad. Got those first few turns pretty good.
couple nice inside
Not
lines.
even close.
He's gonna wait. A nice ice slide on the inside
that was
there.
Not pretty, but I played it safe. Do a little drift up this hill.
He doesn't want to ice slide this turn because he's gonna set up for one here. He didn't slide out, which is good. He didn't bonk. That's also good.
All right, that wasn't.
Oh no!
No,
He missed.
I tried to release because I missed the landing.
He missed it the other way too.
This one is really hard to line up because you're coming off of an ice slide, so your car's wiggling side to side, and you don't have much room. That was
a bit of a blind.
I thought that was going to be a clean map, but I guess not.
Yeah, besides the ending, that was actually pretty solid.
All right, final map. So this one actually has every single type of block. So this has fragile. So if I bonk at all, my car will basically break and I won't be able to accelerate. So I do not want to bonk.
He's really good at timing.
Yeah. But these reset blocks will stop it. This is a no brakes, so I'm not allowed to like drift or anything.
It essentially turns into NASCAR where you just have to
that's not too bad. Yeah,
nice ice slide.
As much speed as possible for this no engine.
Fun fact: engine off in German is Freierfahrt.
Freierfahrt. Interesting.
Yep.
No steering, so I have to line up the car. One more slow-mo. A slow-mo drift. So it's really hard to line that up. As you can see, I just bonked against the wall and now I have no speed. Cruise control makes you stay at the same speed. This is wet plastic, which is slipperier than ice. So that's fun. And then one more fragile. And then all the things. And 3, 2, 1, finish. Sorry, 6. I didn't give you much time.
Nah, you're good. I was watching.
And we're done. Oh, I'm top 9 on that map. That's cool.
So 24:33 according to my timer. So
that
25.
I don't have a timer, so
yeah, 25 low key good estimate. Perchance.
I was just awful.
Nah. You have an excuse. That's fine.
That's fair. I am going to sleep for the next 5 years. So, do you have any more questions you want to ask me, or do you just?
We can swap forward. Thanks for playing. Thanks for commenting yourself. Next up, let me just switch it over to here. Next up, we're gonna have some sly action.
Exciting.
With a race of any percent between Ben and Aslov. So do not go anywhere, please.
Fun.
Let's put some tunes on. I'm gonna set that up, and yeah, thanks for the run.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.